4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the key timings for T1 are, I think, Blink Daggers, right? It's Dagger on Dragon Knight, and it's Dagger on Night Stalker, because those are the two things that enable them to relocate. Except Hookshot, but Hookshot doesn't kill Morph. So, like, you Hookshot Morphling, it's a 1.5 second stun, he starts attribute shifting, and your relocate isn't going to give you a kill at all. So, I think the ease of execution here really, for T1, comes down to when the daggers come into play. If they get the daggers late because their lanes go poorly, then I'm afraid that they're just going to get overpowered. But let's see what the lanes are going to be set first. Like, the obvious lanes here would obviously be Io Gyro safe lane, and then off lane with Clockwork Night Stalker. Or sorry, not it would be Clockwork. It would probably be Clockwork Gyro actually in the safe lane, and then Io Night Stalker off lane and Dragon Knight mid. And for IG, we're probably looking at a mid Lina, ET5 together with Morphling, and then Lion Tide off lane. For now, with how the heroes are moving, it might just be completely default setup for both teams.
Well, if you're just joining us, welcome, friends, to Game 1 of this 2-game series between IG and T1. It is the group stage. We are finally here for TI-10, Cinderman. Very, very excited indeed. As you can see, IG is posturing by the Tier 1 mid for now. Ever since they made this change to the game where it's nighttime until 0 seconds has been actually amazing. It's one of the...
30 seconds.
I don't know if it's overlooked per se, but it's been one of the what am I trying to say? The underdog
Underappreciated.
It's not exactly.
Underdog
it's
change.
It's an underdog change, guys.
This was a change that nobody thought would win.
That's right, and it's won. It's captured the hearts of millions of people.
Oh. I agree. I think it's nice. It makes things spicier and more interesting in the start. Cuckoo
is backstabbing here. He's going to find Emo, but the Astral Spirit is going to see him as well as Ollie and company by the rune. Yeah, they're going to have to back up now with that battery. So very, very scary here. LS8 not going to be able to connect. Nice spacing there for T1 as Homing Missile is going to connect. And this is going to be first blood going the way of T1. So good start for them.
Going to go to Zephyr. Ollie used a Fairy Fire, and therefore the last hit didn't actually go on Cuckoo. I don't know if that was the point or if he was hoping to survive there, but either way, going to get that burst of gold onto the Io. He's going to use this to buy a Magic Stick and a Healing Salve going to this bottom lane. Magic Stick, pretty nice here. It's not amazing by any means, but you know, at least Elder Titan will be throwing out these Astral Spirits pretty consistently, so you get those stick charges, and eventually Morphling maybe skilling Adaptive Strike. So you're going to see Ollie just try to trade aggressively here as much as he can. Very curious about the mid lane, though. I really want to see how this one goes.
We got DK versus Lina, the classic matchup where Lina should win. I mean, how much was nerfed in the passive for DK?
So it went from 4-8, 12, 16 region to 3-6, 9, 12.
Yeah.
So it's just worse on every level by 1. By 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
And what Dragon Knights would usually do in the mid lane was that they would go either 1-0-2 or 0-1-2. So they would get the Dragon Blood up to the 8 region really fast. And having that 2-less region matters a lot when you're playing in the lane against a high harassment hero. So we're going to see the replay here of the first blood. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, Clockwork is one of those heroes that, especially at level 1, is so scary.
He is very good at level 1 fights that are not a cluster. Where if you catch one hero off guard, it's like it's the highest damage spell in the game on level 1. So if you get the full value out of Battery Assault, very strong.
Yeah, Carl mid, just a little bit behind the CS, which is kind of expected here. I mean, DK mid in this meta, right? Well, I guess we don't even know the meta technically, but based on what we know so far, I mean, it's not a hero that can really just go flash jungle, right? Like, Lina will push the wave, go to the jungle, get a bunch of XP and gold that way. So you have to expect Emo to get off to a better start, I would imagine, like to a decent degree.
So far, it's a tie.
Well, it is 2 minutes in the game. I'm talking about like 6-7 minutes in the game.
Yeah, I do think eventually Lina will overpower her, but what you're seeing Carl do here is that he's skilling the stun level 1, and he's just going to stun the Lina to get CS, basically. He's ensuring creeps in whatever way possible. You're seeing that the harassment is starting to mount here. He's just constantly, relentlessly just hitting him. Like, Dragon Knight can't do anything about this except, you know, playing defensively with his Dragon Blood, but again, with that being nerfed, I think we're already looking at a healing salve being sent out here. Actually, no, Ring of Protection tangos for Carl.
Had to take the water rune just on its lonesome as well. Yeah. Very sad indeed.
And honestly, he's not even getting this water rune for much value for himself. He's getting it so that Lina doesn't get 2 bottle refills, right? Yeah, water rune is just really weak now on its own after the nerfs. Carl is getting bullied again. We're talking a lot about this mid lane, but honestly, IG are dominating the other 2 lanes harder. Morphling is having a totally free game here. He's 17-2 against the Night Stalkers 9-1. And in the top lane, Tidehunter as well, 14-3 against Gyros, 10-4. So IG just off to a better start in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, and you were talking about how important it is for T1 to get off to the better start, right? Because they're
not necessarily better, but they need to hit timings, I think, on daggers.
Okay, so basically at that dagger timing is where it really kicks in with the high gear.
I think
like
so,
if this were to go late game, would you, like, regardless of how the game has gone up to that point, who would you take?
I really like the Radiant lineup late game. I think it's extremely powerful. Elder Titan is always one of these late game X-Factor heroes.
Ooh, speaking of Ollie beating the crap out of Cuckoo there. Perfectly normal damage for Ollie, thanks to the Astral Spirit.
Oh, ET is a beast in lane. Good to see some stacks coming out here from Kaka in the triangle. I think he's only going to get the big camp here. Not able to get both that and the Ancients. Don't even know if he wants to stack Ancients here, actually.
How much impact has the nerfs to stacks made on the game, do you think, based on what you've seen so far?
Some, but I think primarily the heroes that were really quick ramp up heroes, like Sven, TA, probably the ones that got hit the hardest. But
Cuckoo continuing to get chased here by Ollie, who's taking just chip damage because it is just an IO attacking him.
Yeah.
Feels like those attacks should heal, honestly, based on how they look. It is a Wisp after all, but yeah, Emo in the mid lane still doing very, very well for himself, which again, not unexpected at all. Actually, going to get some chip damage onto the tower as well. But 23 Savage in the meantime, like you talked about, 15-5, and if you compare it to the position 1 for IG, yeah, that is a big yikes actually. 28-4 for Fly.
Yeah, I think what you're going to be looking at for T1 here is you probably know that the lanes aren't going particularly well when you just think about standard CS on these heroes at this minute mark. So bottom lane, bit of a trade-off. Ollie will be fine though. They're bullying Fly here, which is really important. If you're laning against Morphling and you can somehow lay into him, he has the Morbid Mask and obviously wants to go and hit creeps, but all the time they push him back like this. They're just controlling the flow of the farm in the lane. So that's nice. But yeah, what I was going to say is I think T1 is aware of the situation that they're in. They're going to take some time to wait. I don't think they're going to get this.
A bit, but yeah, they're not going to find him in the end.
They're going to try to get to their daggers. I'm pretty sure. This first nighttime is unlikely to really bear a lot of fruit for Cuckoo. He's going to have a better time laning at least. He will get more farm now that he is much stronger, but the kill potential, I think, isn't really there just yet. Very reliant on Relocate or the Dragon Knight to show up.
Yeah, nice stun there, and that's going to set up... well, actually, looks like Zephyr is in the vicinity for this bottom rune, which is a regen. Might have to take it himself, though.
Yep.
So nobody in mid gets the rune, much to their chagrin. Of course, the bounties are available at each respective spot, so we'll see if they traverse their way to that side of the map. Is this, you're talking about E-Blade. This is an E-Blade game, do you think?
I think so. I mean, not necessarily first item, but I do think it just has a lot of value because you're against Dragon Knight, you're against IO. These are heroes you can burst with magic damage, and you have so much synergy with it. Top lane, good. Good better assault damage here from Whiteman, but not going to be enough, and obviously you're playing against Tidehunter with Ring of Health as well as another tank assist.
See the Earth Spike with the Laguna Blade coming out from Emo into the Hex as well. He's so tanky. Carl pops his ult and then dies instantly. But the TPs from Whitemon are here. Nice block from Kaka. Looks like it's going to save Emo's life as a result. That's a Dragon Knight ult down and the instant death.
And the TP. So this means that space is now freed up even more top for JT, who I think in this matchup, Tide actually... If you imagine this lane being 1-on-1, I think it's just flat out Tide favored, right? Like you just run at the gyro, you anchor smash him, and just hit him. And 23 Savage might just end up leaving the lane now that Tide is hitting level 6 as well. The risk of dying here is just way too high. Ravage plus any connection would be a kill. If he has to go into the jungle now, you're essentially just leaving all 3 lanes in IG's control entirely. This top lane is one where you did have potentially a kill with Clock plus Battery Assault and Rocket Barrage, but yeah, at this point, you probably evacuate, go jungle, and try to build up.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite the slow jungle for sure. What are the... Okay, that was a quick pause, so I don't want to get down this rabbit hole, but I'm going to anyway. How often in your playing experience did you pause the game to have like a quick meeting? Like just to untilt somebody potentially?
Never.
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 I mean, people must do that, though,
it's also not allowed at TI.
It's not allowed anywhere, but it's hard to prove as well. That's what I'm saying. It's just an interesting concept.
But yeah, we don't have tactical pauses. At TI, it's strictly technical pauses. So when games are paused, you give a reason. And if it's like extended beyond whatever, especially at the main event when we're in the arena and everything, it's yeah, it's very structured how pauses get to be used.
Fly.
Arcane Rune for Emo.
Yeah, Emo is top of the charts right now, having himself an incredible game, which shouldn't be too surprising. I mean, we didn't get to see a ton of IG in the last major, but first one obviously they did quite well, right? So
yeah,
and Emo was a big reason for that. The question mark man himself. Oh, Fly. It's going to take a void for the face, but we'll get the attribute shift off and wait for him to safety.
It's still good to see from T1 that they are pressuring where they can here. Like, they keep running at this morphling. It might feel pointless when you look at the morph just go down to 1 HP and then morphing back up again with the attribute shift, but the alternative is if you don't do this, he's just farming, right? So yeah, you're not killing him, but you're doing economic damage at least to his game. And where else could you really do that? That's kind of the tricky part, right? Tai is a difficult kill. The Lina has won her lane and she's kind of half playing jungle. And your lineup, it doesn't really gank very well until you have daggers, right? Dragon Knight can't really get on top of people. Clockwork's level 5, and Night Stalker is... He could potentially try a dive mid or something like that, but that's what you're looking at, right? It's not your obvious smoke ganking supports you've got your hands on here.
Yeah.
So,
and although it's not good news that Cuckoo is the top net worth for T1, but at the same time, if he gets some good impact here with this this nighttime. Actually, do you think it's this nighttime that he has to have the big impact, or
the one at 15 to 20? I think so. I would hope for T1 they have at least one dagger then. It looks like it's not going to be Cuckoo. He's going for Echo Saber first, which is a very common Night Stalker build right now. Echo Saber into dagger, and then you can split the Echo Saber into BKB if you need it. Dragon Knight sitting on a Tumbler's Toy will give him a little bit of gap close, so potentially he could find stuns with that. It's at least a little bit of a pseudo blink, but not hovering an item right now.
The battle for the 10-minute runes. Again, it's a double damage this time. LSA. Okay, looks like they're going to get the Laguna Blade off onto Whitemon, but the heals from Zephyr come through. Ends up being a wasted ult. But the DD was taken by Kaka himself. Actually denied by Kaka himself. 23 Savage in the meantime getting chased by JT, but the homing missile will connect. Call down as well, trying to create as much space as possible. Only one proc connects, but there's the hook shot. Whitemon is level 6 now, inside the cogs, but a big Ravage. Is that going to be enough to at least get a kill for himself before he makes it his way to the grave? But negative. He will die, and Ravage is on cooldown now.
Very important for Whitemon to show up there. The next Anchor Smash is a kill on Savage, and he would have gone for that. He would have just Ravaged and got him in the trees. So they rotate up support here to protect, and yeah, the Ravage is used. At the very least, the silver lining there for JT is that he got that 3-man rotation while the mid-wave is being pushed by a siege creep. So T1 kind of need to put out some fires across the map right now, and now that their Clockwork as well as IO are in the top half, IG seem relatively confident with doing this, knowing that there's no hookshot to catch their Lina, who also has a Tumbler Toy, just jumps away. How much of the tower did they get? They got 80%. That's pretty damn good at this point for their lineup. And at the same time, Fly bottom, well, guess what? There's another siege creep pushing in the bottom lane as well. So definitely big structural damage advantage now for IG. Their towers look very healthy. And the T1 tower's top is half, mid is almost down like we talked about, and bottom is also half. So a lot of potentially unclaimed gold that could come IG's way in the next 5 minutes, as well as obviously the more important map control of just pushing the waves further.
What do you think of 23 Savage's build right now? He went Falcon Blade on the gyro. He's going for Diffusal. He has Pig Pull. Thank you.
Very common pickup against Morphling.
What, the Pig Pull?
Yes. When you're against Morphling, you specifically find Pig Pull. I think Diffusal Blade is specifically targeted item against more.
Trying to set this kill up. There's the Finger of Death. Cuckoo pops his ult and is able to walk away safely.
So they're lacking a little bit in the tank for these kills. It was the same with the Laguna Blade earlier, but you will cross that threshold eventually, especially if Morphling goes for the Ethereal Blade. Is queuing up Manta for now, or at least the Yasha.
Okay.
There's two ways of looking at this. The one is all of the upsides we talked about with E-Blade. The other one is, well, you're against Gyro. So if you have a sick right-click build with Flak Cannon, that is a lot of spread damage, and you already have a lot of single target damage through your mid and your 4. So maybe you want to cover your bases that way. I think both ideologies are fine in different ways. It's about what play style you're aiming for in order to win the game. I can't say one is just objectively better than the other. Really depends on the flow and how the players feel in the game as well. Dota is a very complex game, so...
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. It's hard to solve, so to speak. You can play what you feel like is the perfect game, and then you look through the replay and you find 10 mistakes that you made. And you can play a game where you felt like you were terrible, and then you look through and you're like, okay, there are actually just so many factors that... You can be as hard on yourself as you want, right? But there's a lot of things that can just happen that you, when you look at it, couldn't realistically have expected.
Right.
Of yourself.
That's the beauty of the game.
Yeah.
Well, especially yourself. As Emo is going to be pushing this tier 2 tower. Looks like it's going to fall one way or the other here. Will they get the deny? No. Emo gets full credit for that bad
So that's 2 towers for IG. The bottom, all of their own towers are still very safe, and this is the makings of a very mid-game favored situation for them, because now that they've pushed out this top and mid tower, they get to start making aggressive smoke movements into the enemy jungle, either in order to kill or in order to ward. They're actually going to see the smoke right away. Didn't waste any time on that. With these towers down, they're going to smoke 3-man behind Emo, maybe rotating to bottom, which would be a very unexpected play. They don't want to go on Whitemon anyway. They don't want to waste their smoke on a position 5, so maybe this one just ends up being used to place a ward. Kaka doesn't have one, though. It's only on Ollie. And Kaka is leading here.
Ooh, if they find Cuckoo.
They see Cuckoo. They see him, they ping him.
Pretty good kill.
Yeah.
As we talked about,
Smoke
he's
breaks.
Quite farmed. Yeah. A little bit too long of a duration there.
Yep. Wait, actually, it didn't run out. Did he go too close?
I thought it ran out. Oh, it was Clockwork with his invis.
Oh, Clock came close enough. Okay, so he broke line, and they just called off the play.
Oh, there's the Blink Dagger you were talking about. So that's some initiation now for T1.
Yep.
Is that enough to start fights, or does Gyro need a little bit more farm right now? Because he went, like, obviously the diffusal's good, but...
Dragon Knight Blink Dagger is always enough to start fights. It's about finding the right opportunities where you don't get counterplayed too hard, right? You're still, even with the Dagger, you're playing against Elder Titan Stomp, you're playing against Ravage, which is really scary, and speaking of Dagger, JT is only 400 away from his on the Tide, which makes it very easy to counter-initiate on relocates and to counter-initiate on the Dragon Knight when he goes in. So yes, the plays are available, but you need to be very selective and ideally have some sort of a map read where you see 1 or 2 heroes that are not able to connect to the fight, so you can take a numbers advantage. The problem is, once again, you're behind on towers, so finding that man advantage and the information is just inherently harder for the Dire team in this spot, but they are going to look for it here with the smoke.
Yeah, and from a T1's perspective, it's a little bit of a shame that they're not able to do much structural damage with a DK in their lineup.
I just realized we have 3 kills in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slow game. I mean, this is the first game, and I'm not surprised at all. First game of TI.
It is very slow. If you don't watch a lot of Dota, this is very uncommon.
This is League of Legends, by
the way. It is very uncommon to have this few kills.
In Dota, yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes, specifically. I'm sorry for talking about the game that we're actually watching here.
In Dota, yes.
Again, absolutely.
Well, Blink Dagger now online for JT. It's being delivered, so...
Haste rune top.
Ends up being like only a minute and a half difference between the offlane and the mid.
Exactly.
Teams. That's crazy.
And it's not only that, but Tide has also got a hood, right? He's just ahead of DK.
Yeah.
And that was the thing we talked about. Dragon Knight doesn't really want to do that pit stop for the hood, so he didn't. But Tide doesn't mind at all in this kind of game, especially with the start he's had. So, yep, the smokes haven't really borne any fruit for either team. Nobody got a ward out, even, I believe, with their smoke. Maybe actually this one between the mid tier 1 and tier 2 tower for T1 I do think was off the back of a smoke. It's very hard to get this one in without that. But they don't seem to be able to convert this ward into a mid move, which is what they want. They want to catch mid so they can take tower. They're going to get a hook shot top, though.
Yeah, it's on the support for now. Emo gets off the stun in the meantime. Looks like there might be a trade of supports. Nope, Whitemon will actually live through the day. See the relocate from Zephyr coming in as well. They're not going to find anything on top of that, so it ends up just being a dead Kaka for now.
It's something. In the meantime, Carl is pushing bottom. This is a really good play from T1. You want to make sure this Dragon Knight ulti gets some use in this game. It's taken very long for them to activate. I think they would rather be pushing the mid-tier one with the ward they placed and then turn it into a fight with their dagger. But at the very least, they find a pick and they use it to push a structure. So this is very good for them. It's going to open up the map a bit. Looks like Carl will... Oh, he's actually hesitating here, worried that he is getting TP'd on because IG's heroes stopped showing top. But I think he will find his confidence now to finish that tower off. Yes, he will. And here's a replay.
Nice hook shot. Emo using the Tumbler's toy. I don't think he was in range to get stuck in the cogs either way, but nice usage either way. Has a quick bind, I'm sure. You know, a good hotkey choice. We have to investigate what that is later. You can copy that. That's what you do to get better. So just copy other people.
Do what Emo does. Just type question mark and you get better.
Looks like going to find the easy kill. Nice attempt on the hook shot into the neutral creeps. But it's going to be the first stack, I believe, for Kaka's Finger of Death. Yep. 23 Savage now in the triangle. He's going to get scanned. And we'll just back away. The spidey senses were definitely tingling there.
Yep. So all in all, still a very even game. Would once again still slightly favor IG based on map control, but with this open bottom tower now that Carl managed to accomplish, that will help them a lot. Gold is basically at a point that's roughly 0. And worth noting is the value of the net worth, right? Like, we like talking about the graph and what it means and that, you know, this hero is rich and this hero is poor, but it's not always that binary. It's also about, like, how much is the gold worth. IO's mech is an insane net worth.
That's a Ravage and that's a dead Cuckoo. All right, okay. Elder Titan ult used as well.
He's
My
dead.
Goodness. That is a double dead corpse, I believe. Carl TP's out.
He got overkilled by a lot.
What if that was a thing? That would be interesting.
An overkill counter? Yeah.
You spawn with less HP for like 1 minute.
But yeah, as far as value and net worth, right? Blink Dagger is one of these perfect items for like explaining that concept, where in the right situation, Blink Dagger is worth a lot of gold, and in the wrong situation is worth nothing, right? If you're taking damage, it's dead gold. It does literally nothing. IO's mech is just, in terms of its potential for what it costs and what it can do in the game, is an insane item for its price, right? It's a guaranteed way of healing your carry a lot, turning a team fight around, and unless you're stunned, it will go off. It doesn't have the same kind of limitations. So I do think right now with the net worth, I would love to see T1 fight with no Ravage. I think this is a great move, and they're going to make use of the reward. If they find Emo, it's big.
Emo pops the BKB instantly. And it looks like everybody's going to be safe as a result, unless a hook shot connects here.
Waited for a blink stun from DK there, maybe.
All right, Ollie's going to get hit by this homing missile. So the sacrificial lamb for IG, but honestly, that's not that bad.
No, if you're IG, this isn't too bad if you hold mid tier 1.
It did cost them the full charge of the BKB, though, honestly.
It did. They're going to glyph mid. The Dark Ascension still has a decent amount of time left on it. They might have to give this tower up, actually. Yeah. All right, nice from T1 to grab this and equalize the tower score. I think this could have actually gone even better for them if they had a little more patience. I think if Dragon Knight opens the Lina there, they just find this kill. But maybe Cuckoo felt like he had to go in and Dragon Knight was too far away, or the dagger was on cooldown and they need to make that move. And either way, they do end up getting the tower.
Do you think he's fast enough to pop BKB if a Dragon Knight who's already ulted blinks in and there's that little projectile speed of Dragon Tail? Because he was DK ulted already before that smoke.
It's almost inhuman reactions.
Yeah, he's quite inhuman.
If you have yeah, that's true.
He is incredible. All right, we have a smoke again, this time from IG, but you can see T1 pretty aware of this. They're going to scan as well. I mean, having said all this, like after the laning stage, or during the laning stage, I should say, T1 kind of lost every lane to some degree, but 23 Savage has recovered extremely well, and he's on top of the charts.
IO Gyro will do that if given the space, and IG did make a good attempt at shutting it down at least a little bit by getting these early towers, but haven't really, like we talked about, the skirmishes didn't really work out that well.
Scout it.
All right. This is a big moment. They're not even coming. No. Well, this is one of the biggest weaknesses of Night Stalker, right?
When his ult is down and it's daytime, you are not a hero.
When it's not night, that is, it's pretty bad, right? So, good reads from both teams, right? Essentially, the trade-off here is the mid-tier 1 for the Aegis. That's what happened. They knew there was no Ravage, so they made their move. And then IG knows there's no Darkness or no Dark Ascension, so they make their move. And both moves are successful. Now, what are you going to use this Aegis for? So we did see Fly go for the E-Blade. He did follow through and only get the value Yasha and actually queuing up BKB. His burst now is nasty.
Oh boy, they're going to Hex 23 Savage right off the bat. Finger of Death to follow, and Zephyr trying to go for the save, but it's not to be. It's going to be his death as well. So a very nice smoke gank after the Roche was taken from IG.
They didn't even E-Blade there.
Yeah, they didn't do, I mean, they didn't commit that much.
They used like 2/3 of their damage and he still died.
What are your thoughts on Aegis for Flyfly instead of Emo? Because you can argue either way, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure why they chose on the Morph. I personally like it on the Lina here as well because she's a little bit more susceptible to getting killed. Perhaps the logic is by putting the Aegis on Morph, we can go and hit towers, right? We can push. If they do want to jump our Morphling with Night Stalker plus Blink, Dragon, Knight Stun, they can kill him one time, but they can't do it twice.
Right.
So that way maybe we can just take some towers. But in the same vein, though, you could do that with Lina too, right? She's not a bad pushing hero once you have a couple of items like this. It's for 200 with insane attack speed. So I wouldn't mind either way.
And Emo now with the Shadow Blade. Does she actually go for Silver Edge here?
Good against DK.
Yeah.
I could see it. It's a very popular item right now.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the up-and-comers for sure after the changes. As Flyfly now, still with that Aegis, obviously going to be hitting this Tier 2 tower. See what T1 wants to do. They have 3 heroes that are smoked. There's the instant initiation from Carl. Do they have enough damage to actually blow up Flyfly now? He's going to get his attribute shift off. And looks like he's good to go. Kaka jumps in with the Impale. Now the counter initiation from Whitemon only gets 1 inside the cogs. That's the Emo BKB. And that is a dead Cuckoo right off the bat. It's going to be a 2-for-1 exchange for now. 4 staff to safety for JT. And the reset here for IG, who still have that Aegis in tow.
Yeah, very good Ravage. Cuckoo obviously unable to BKB. He was caught by the Lion Stun. They BKB on the Gyro only, so it was a 4-man Ravage. Dragon Knight didn't get his off. And they take an okay-ish fight. Honestly, not really a travesty for T1 either. They end up not losing their tower in all of this. So that could have gone way worse. But Aegis still intact for Flyfly, and you would imagine the next move from IG will be with their next Ravage in 100 seconds. They will have, how long on the Aegis then? 30 seconds. So there is a small window to take another massively favored fight with that second life on Morph. And he will probably have the BKB for that
Carl, he gets off the stun. We got Io coming in as well. Do they have enough to take out Emo? They have the vision. There's the hook shot. And that's going to be an easy kill. Very nicely layered there from T1. A little sneaky gank, if you will. And that's 60 seconds. Essentially, you're deleting that from the Aegis, right?
Yep, that's true. That should...
As we see a replay here, there's that big old Ravage. And the BKBs galore for IG, really making the big difference here.
Notice the Morphling's mana in all of this, right? That's the defusal from Gyro at work. Just really
that's true.
Forcing him out of the fight. Can't really do much. Yeah, they're going to be hungry for more moves with this Lina dead. Really good to see here from T1. Just keep putting on the pressure when you have the mana advantage. Your lineup is very snowbally in nature and what it can do when it's ahead. But all they're going to get for their trouble is the outpost as IG made the read and got out.
And that was without the Ags on 23 Savage, so now that he has that double attack, essentially,
that's definitely going to help a lot.
Even more mana burn to work with.
I think still, if you're IG now, I feel like this is a perfect timing to go smoke. Lina has Boots of Travel, so she can likely connect to your play if you make it in the right spot. And that way you get value out of your Aegis that has 50 seconds left and the Ravage coming up in 25. There's like this narrow timing of 20 seconds where you could find the dream fight. She could TP mid as well. They're very close to BKB on Morphling though, so maybe you want to wait for that. I don't know if that's better than an Aegis though. I don't think so.
I mean, if you're T1, you have to know. I mean, you can literally check the hero now to see the timer. You don't have to write it down technically, right? So they should know that there's this small timing that they just need to be kind of passive. It's only a 2K net worth lead for IG, so
it is.
T1 definitely bounce back. But mostly on the back of the Zephyr 23 Savage combo. We're going to see the 5-man smoke, so yeah, they're timing this pretty on the dot here as the Aegis is going to get reclaimed in 10 seconds.
They will be unaware about the BKB though, and that could catch them really off guard. They need to be careful how they jump Flyfly, because if it's just the Night Stalker starting again, oh, they might catch him here though.
Might. Flyfly in the river, 23 Savage. They don't have the initiation.
The heroes are on the other
position.
side. Yeah, they were looking at the bottom half with the Night Stalker and Dragon Knight.
They might want to still go though. Whitemon posturing for a hook shot. If they would go for wait for him to the high ground as Kaka is going to get caught by Cuckoo. There's the BKB with the crippling fear. Looks like he'll clean up the Lion very easily. Now onto Flyfly potentially. Carl on the backside in his dragon form as Cuckoo's BKB has now dissipated. There's the E-Blade. Cuckoo has to try to kite this a bit. The hook shot now going to connect onto Emo. The Cogs pushing him back in. 23 Savage doing a lot of damage, but the BKB, there's a save from Zephyr. Look at the HP regen, but it's not going to be enough to save him as Emo, able to Shadow Blade out to safety, some way, somehow lives. Double kill for Flyfly now as he continues just destroying kids left and right. That was extremely close to having a decent fight for T1 if Emo dies there.
There wasn't much, they didn't need much more there, just a tiny little bit. Of course, an issue that they are facing with their lineup, so we're going to see the replay here. Cuckoo has good single target damage on Night Stalker, right? But he uses everything for the Lion kill. So now that they want to go for a core kill, Cuckoo can't connect here. He's getting zoned off by the Morphling. And once this fight breaks out down here, can't ever really reconnect back in, right?
Yeah.
He finally gets in after another 10 seconds, just gets Laguna and dies on the spot. So obviously Gyrocopter as a carry offers insane teamfight damage, but the single target damage is not that good, especially against BKB heroes. And with Night Stalker having used everything he had in the tank for the Lion to open up with, they couldn't finish off Emo's Lina in time.
Yeah.
And a well-structured fight again there for IG.
And Flyfly turning into 23 Savage as well certainly helped with the flak. And even the Rocket Barrage, actually, at close range there.
They use the Lion buyback, at the very least. That's the good news here for T1. It gives them a clear path into the next fight. If you kill Lion, you have that man advantage guaranteed. And I do think they should do what they did again. Like if they can find Night Stalker an opening on Kaka, it is a super high-impact play. Ravage unexpended there, by the way. Worth noting. I think it was on cooldown.
It might have been on, might have been the tail end there. As we see a 5-man smoke now from T1. They have vision here. Someone's going to get hit just a bit by that. Carl pops the BKB, gets the stun off. They're going to focus on the Lion again. Looks like they'll be successful yet again.
This is very good for
Echo
T1.
Stomp onto 2, though. LSA is going to connect with the Laguna Blade. They're going to be able to destroy Cuckoo in turn, so it's a 1-for-1.
Okay, it was very good.
It was, but again, the positioning a little bit tentative, or hesitant, I should say, from Carl and company in the back line.
Yeah, and also just a mistake from Cuckoo, right? You can't get LS8 there, I think. You have the vision advantage. The Lina does not have any specific cast range that helps her out. I don't know if she got him out of the Silver Edge, I think it's more forgivable. Maybe that's what happened. Just got clipped on the edge by a stun he wasn't expecting. But yeah, he's ahead of his team, and nobody was there to save him. There was no IO heals coming in, just being connected there with Savage. So they end up just selling their Night Stalker basically in that fight, and that just ends the chase that could have looked interesting, right? Because that's where they had that Lion advantage of killing the hero with no buyback that they nicely set up.
I mean, right now, I'm trying to understand T1's, like, their, what's the right way to put this?
Mindset?
Their position to win in the, like, as the game goes further, because look at Carl's items. I know you can go Silver Edge is going to give you some, like right now he has no damage, absolutely no damage, right? Until you get that Silver Edge completed.
Silver Edge is going to help for sure.
But like right now in these fights, they have one hero doing damage. That's kind of an issue, right?
Yeah, Night Stalker can still perform that function as long as his BKB lasts, which is 8 seconds currently. So I don't think damage is an overwhelming concern right now, but I think somewhere down the line, if Cuckoo and Carl don't start getting some big damage, it will definitely be an issue.
And we got IG now.
Yep.
They have their smoke going. See if they can get the initiation off. Kaka posturing here. Silver Edge is officially online for Emo. He's had that for a bit, actually. Has the Mindbreaker in his backpack, actually. That's interesting. Using the Essence Ring instead for now.
Yep. Extra bit of protection.
They're just going to farm the jungle, it seems. And get some wards off as well.
Yeah, didn't find what they were looking for, except just protecting the Roche Pit. They know Roshan is spawning soon. They're Radiant. Getting these deeper wards around the Roche Pit is really strong in this position. So that if T1 try to contest, you will either break their smoke there, or you will even see them if they're out of smokes. And obviously, the Observer Ward, always going to be an important tool, but has even added value against Night Stalker, right? That hero thrives off vision advantage. If you can take that away from them, a lot of the time Night Stalker kind of just isn't a very impressive hero. So, good vision placed. Roshan spawns in 40 seconds. They obviously do not know this, but they can narrow it down, right? The timer now is approaching the later portion of his respawn, so they'll probably just hang around here, wait for the respawn, and I think T1 has to fight them for it. I don't think you can give this Aegis up. Roche number 2
Yeah, I mean, they have everything, right? They have Night Stalker ult, they have Hookshot, and they can get vision constantly with this this rocket. So
who do you give the shard to?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Actually,
right, shard time.
I feel like it's kind of cute to give the shard to ET in this game, but the Lion one is also good. The reason the ET one is cool is he's playing with a lineup, so...
JT, he's going to get a gush off, but there's a counter initiation. Nice Kaka, gets off the Hex. There's the Ravage onto several heroes, though. His 23 Savage pops the BKB and just right-clicking to his heart's content. 2 for 2 as the buyback comes out now from the Tidehunter. JT back into the fight very shortly. Is Emo on the high ground, be able to finish off Whitemon pretty easily. Now that all this has been expended, they're going to focus everything onto 23 Savage. He is going to get destroyed. And Cuckoo with very little HP. Looks like he'll get out, but this likely means a free Roche for IG.
It's bad news for T1 when you lose a fight where your Gyro has Satanic and DD. But look at the damage, right? Like the damage numbers. Gyro did everything. Nobody else even seemingly got anything off. Carl just got blasted, did 95 damage total. I don't even know how that's possible with Dragon Knight. Maybe he hit a Dragon Tail. Probably what it was, right? And just got annihilated. It's just, you're going to see here in the replay, right? So they catch him as the opener, blast him immediately, take him out. Morph turns into Gyro, goes for the flat cannon hits. And Cuckoo lucky to survive there as well on that, and will obviously reset out here. And they are trying to like poke and prod at Emo, but he's just going to reset and survive. And Cuckoo will be the lone survivor flying away. So huge lead now, going the way of IG, 9k Aegis.
All right, let's talk about Shard. All right.
They gave the Shard to...
Well, Flyfly has it in his backpack. Means he's not going to use it.
So, okay, so here's why I think it could be cool on ET here is...
They don't have any crazy shards, by the way.
Right, that's...
Tidehunter
first
is
of all,
probably
that's
the
why
best
you could
objectively,
consider it.
I would say.
Obviously, the ET doesn't have the Ag Scepter yet, so you are exposing yourself. But what the Shard does on the ET is that you can choose to replace your Astral Spirit position when you stomp, right? So let's say he finds a stomp onto either Gyro or DK, he can get on top of them and remove that armor. So Morph can just blast them immediately, right? During a Hex, for example. I think it's cute, but at the same time, maybe the risk-reward isn't good enough for it. Because you're also putting yourself in an awkward position, right?
It sounds more like a core build.
Yeah, when he has Ag, if he had the Scepter, I think they would give it to him on the spot.
All right, so right as usual, Synderen, you need to listen to your elders here.
If he had it on ET, if he had the Ag Scepter, they would have given it to him. Trust me. Source, trust me.
All right, if he had 6,000 gold worth of items in addition to what he has.
It's 3k in addition.
Well, plus what his normal net worth would be at this point.
I have no idea how that makes any sense.
Synderen, just listen.
Yep, listening.
And don't forget.
Learned nothing. All right.
That is a tier 3 tower down. Flyfly is doing so much damage with the addition of Emo at his side. And with his Aegis, I can't blame T1 for not even attempting to defend this.
Yeah, it's rough.
Still, the Aegis, plenty of time for IG to just go for another set.
Yeah, I think you just go mid. I don't even know if you need the creep wave. Maybe they do want to ensure it.
Play it safe here, probably.
Yeah, they have time. Aegis with 2.5 minutes is more than enough to push out the mid wave and go next. So they're going to take it nice and easy.
So yeah, the Anchor Smash Shard we should mention. I'm going to do this every cast, by the way. When people complain, then maybe I'll stop. But actually, no, I'm not going to complain. You get the extra damage on Anchor Smash, and it reduces the damage and does damage to the towers as well. So it gives you even more pushing potential, Synderen.
Yep.
With the lineup that they have, it's not needed, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, I guess that's why Flyfly was hanging on to it for so long. They were like, man, none of our shards feel amazing. Which one is least bad?
Yeah, like Lena's is really weird. I mean, Lion's is pretty good.
I think they should have given it to Lion, honestly. I think the Lion one would have been better than Tide, personally. But just because it gives you a line of protection against some potential plays.
I think the issue with that is that it ends up being a waste when Night Stalker blinks on you with Crippling Fear and you can't do anything anyway.
It's Ghost Scepter for that, at least. So you can outlive that and then maybe Mana Drain the follow-up.
So the Void is going to do like 800 damage instead of 3? That's the math.
Yeah. I mean, so far everything you've said about numbers has been like 100% off.
Just ignore the numbers
literally.
And just listen to what I'm trying to say. Not very eloquently, by the way.
Yep.
All right, tier 3 down again.
Waveformed into the rocket. A little bit of mistake there. Doesn't matter, though.
Good effort.
And he's just going to keep pushing. They still have the 2 siege creeps
as well. There's the BKB from Carl on the back line. They're going to be able to take out Ollie right off the bat. Very nicely done. He has to buy back into the game now. As Morphling. Looks like he's trying to find somebody in the back line as well, but It's just going to be the clockwork for now. So I think T1 probably back to the high ground they go as the relocate to just avoid the homing missile coming through. And with that BKB dissipating now, IG in prime position to take not only a second racks, but potentially the game as well.
Yep, they know the relocate's coming back. Nice stomp timing there.
Yep, and there's the Ravage to follow it up, and looks like that's going to be an easy peasy kill into 23 Savage. He does have buyback though, as Carl going to get connected by Zephyr there. They're going to try to go on him. The Cuckoo jumps in with a crippling fear, but has to back away immediately. Just doesn't really have that much presence now. The BKBs are down. Echo Stomp's going to connect onto 23 Savage, who just TP'd in. That is a triple kill for Flyfly and a dieback onto 23 Savage. So game 1 is going to go to IG in convincing fashion, which, I mean, the laning stage didn't go that well for T1, but they did come back.
Yeah.
They had good presence, but it just felt like they had one hero that was doing a lot and a lot of others that didn't. Like the Dragon Knight mid, we talked about the pitfalls potentially of this hero.